Hello, welcome back. Right, we've just been toying around with stuff a bit in this formation, and we've ended up with this. We just tried this in a friendly and stomped it. And there was a bit of theory behind it. The thing is, if this was proper league matches, we would do more testing before we played them. But because they're training league, it really doesn't matter what the results are too much. So we're just going to go play a couple more matches. But I'll just try and explain the changes. So firstly, the obvious thing is to just remove the AMC. Basically just brought the AMC back to here and set it to box. Otherwise it's basically the same tactic. So let's just explain that a bit. Why? So there's multiple reasons. So one of them is what we were saying before. We just needed an extra defender back. So this gets us that. And then the other thing that this does, which I felt was an issue in the last game as well, and sort of is a little bit, is somewhat related to not having one extra body back, but also just having one extra body in midfield as well. Like back in midfield, just an extra body just to sort of help in this, win the midfield battle, and to get back and help defend, to help bring the ball up the pitch, to help with the transitions, to help both with the defending to attacking transitions and the attacking to defending transitions, as well as when we're actually defending to get back and help defend. And this does all of that. Two box-to-box midfielders is a bit... There's reasons why this is bad in lots of situations, but a lot of those reasons we're mitigating. So one is like we do have them split by another midfielder between them that has a different role, and he's typically going to be in front of them, except when enough time has elapsed for them to both join the attack. Which, and then there's also a midfielder behind them, albeit he's off-centered. I'm not sure if that's the right move, but it's certainly the right move whilst this guy's playing. When he's not playing anymore, then we'll assess it. But so they're split, and it helps them not just be moving up. Basically not occupying the same space all the time because they're split up a bit here. But there is an issue that they will typically be moving up and back together. But they are covering a lot of ground and they have different speed and work rate, and they'll be on different sides of the pitch where the ball is and blah blah blah. Because of the sheer amount of distance they have to go up and back to always covering, and the fact that this guy's offset, which will make him, maybe drift out this way a little bit more, have a bit of extra space to recover, blah blah blah. There's enough going on here that it's not like putting two central midfielders or two attacking midfielders or two defensive midfielders together that really will be moving in tandem. They'll typically be like more separated just on the fact that they've got loads of distance to cover all the time, plus they're split by this guy. However, it is still a risk that the match will be moving too fast. The last match we played, it wasn't. We got the match slow enough that they were always getting up and back, and it just helped us dominate the match. However, if the match is moving too fast for them, and they're always just playing catch-up, you're effectively, rather than having two extra players when you attack and two extra players when you defend, you end up with like no extra when you attack or defend. So if we're going to play this, we need to make sure that the match is moving slow enough that they're constantly getting up and back. If that's not true, then we need to change their role or make a change. So this is one reason for that. Another reason is that our attacking winger here was just playing worse than our former guy, who was in theory, like, this is our old guy. In theory, he's not as good as our new guy. But the thing is, he had the passing, and the new guy is much better at carrying the ball up the wing, but doesn't have the passing. And that's turned out to be an issue for us, quite frankly, because I think part of it is because we had this attacking midfield, this creative forward here. We're encouraging him to pass through, and rather than run with it, because we're giving him this easy option to pass to all the time. So we're basically discouraging him from using his strength, which is carrying the ball up the wing, and encouraging him to do something that he's not good at, which is pass the ball. So this creative forward needs to not be here. If we keep that role, it needs to be here, or maybe ideally here. But I think there's a separate problem. Let's just change this back. There's a whole separate problem with our creative forward, at least It's different when they're a starting guy. This guy is around because he's a different player. But this guy, the issue with this guy is that he's just not enough of a goal scoring threat. Basically, it's a combination. It's nothing specific per se. I think it's just a across the board combination of his finishing, long shots, composure, dribbling, speed, whatever, aerial ability, to call it whatever it is. It's just all of this stuff that's going to help to movement, whatever. All of this stuff that's going to help to lead to scoring goals. It's just not high enough, basically. So he's played like 18 starts, 4 off the bench, 22 matches for 6 goals. And you can, I don't know, let's distill those 4 substitute appearances down into 1 start. So we're saying it'll be a bit more than that in reality, but let's just call it 1. So we're saying 19 matches, 6 goals. So it's like less than a goal every 3 games. Obviously, he's got the 8 assists. It's not like he's averaging 8, even though he's had a few matches off the bench. Blah blah. It's not like it's been a total failure. And I think in particular when we had the winger that wasn't that good at carrying the ball up the wing, it made sense. It made a lot of sense to help him out and for him to get forwards and to it made sense basically when we weren't wanting the winger to always just try to carry the ball up the wing, but now we do. This is a big difference. And I think in particular, like, we have attacking midfielder, we have 2 wingers, we have 2 box-to-box midfielders coming up. We can just generally consider, and we already are, quite frankly, but we can just generally consider chance creation in all of these players going forwards. Basically, I guess is what I'm trying to say is we do lose. It's not like we lose nothing by losing that role. But I feel like it's easier for us to compensate for that loss than what it is for us to try to, with some attributes basically across the board here. Because we've got enough players generally getting forwards in this tactic. Now, if these players are like a threat and they're scoring it more frequently, I feel like the other guy does. I could be wrong. Let's look. Yeah, so the other guy scores way more frequently, right? Like he's more than a goal every 2 games. The other guy is like less than a goal every 3 games. So this guy poses a threat, and you can just see he's a bit faster, better in the air, better movement, and then just generally better combination of finishing long shots, composure, better dribbling. He's just he just poses more of a threat. When this guy's fit, then it's different. Maybe we can look to get that back. But whilst he's not, I just don't think... I think it's too much of a luxury to have a creative forward role that doesn't pose as a goal scoring, not like a significant goal scoring threat for us, basically. Because we got so much... It'd be different if we didn't have so many other players going forwards and we have more players defending, but, So they're the reasons, effectively, on the balance that making this change makes it so that we get an extra body back to defend eventually when he gets back. We still have him coming forwards to help attack, but he's not in an advanced position to help out the winger to funnel through it, but we want to not have that happen anyway. And it just helps control the midfield more. So I guess is what I'm saying is extra boost defense, boost midfield, boost attacking to defensive transitions. Probably a slight nerf to defensive to attacking transitions. If you're transitioning from defense to attack, having this advanced forward is on the whole more positive than having this guy trying to catch up. So yeah, defensive boost, general midfield control boost, a boost to attacking to defensive transitions, a nerf to defensive to attacking transitions, and probably a slight nerf to overall attack, but only slight. I feel like all of those gains are the gains outweigh that, and ultimately, like I said, if we have him, we don't want him here, we want him somewhere else. And again, I think in particular, I'm talking about from the context of if it's the more this other guy, when he's back, we probably do want to try and fit him back in And we'll deal with that then, because in 2 matches' time we could have some of these other players injured anyway, so Hand could be forced to try something different. But for whilst he's out, we're going to do this. We'll have the other guy on the bench still, so we can still swap back to this other tactic if we feel like we want to, because at the end of the day we have only tried this once, so we might have just been a good opponent for it. So let's try this. But I feel like on the whole, the real issue with the main tactic, the other tactic we're playing, is just it's very like very top heavy, something like that. Like, it has a lot of scope to be like really exposed by a good team, and obviously we're generally playing weaker teams, so this is a thing. And like, I just feel like in this match, we didn't really we didn't really control it, and I think at the end of the day, like, that's an issue, because this team is just not as strong, anywhere near as strong as what teams will play in the future. So and we've got only 3 defenders, so we've got this extra player effectively compared to most teams, and that should and needs to result in us controlling the midfield, like, if it's basically so. And I feel like this change just makes us have a massive midfield presence. We should generally be controlling the midfield. The big issue with this change really is that one of the tactical changes we do typically make is to try to just get the ball up faster, and that's going to be a bad change now generally, but we'll see. Okay, already a good chance. That was one of the box-to-box midfielders, by the way. So yeah, on the whole, we just weren't that convincing. I think it wasn't just the fact that we didn't win that match. Even the match before it, it wasn't that convincing either. So that bit of dilly-dallying isn't bad for us, because it allows both of our box-to-box midfielders to get up then, and then we have a numerical advantage. It's another one of our box-to-box midfielders. Oh, it's really good play, and it's a shame we missed that, because that was a really good chance. I think it fell to our right midfielder, who, unfortunately, this guy who's got abysmal finishing and composure, so it's not surprising that he missed it. It's just a shame that it fell to him, really. And again, it's just that woeful passing as well, which is an issue. Because we pass the ball around a lot, just you don't really want to be losing the ball like that. Yeah, that is a shame, because it's their first attack, and we had created a bit, and now it's not. We are on the back foot a bit. Anyway, let's see if we can come back from it. Alright, another great chance. Okay, this one's a goal. Cool. Because I think I just felt like, I don't know, we were going alright. We were generally controlling the midfield. Everything was looking pretty stable. We were creating a bit, but not a lot. It was sort of generally looking pretty promising. But then they scored, and it's like, Yeah. Unfortunately now, Catania is also injured. He's our best defender. Our second best defender is injured. Our third best defender is also injured. So our best three defenders now will all be injured at the same time, I think, which is going to be a big issue. Right, another goal, yeah. So hopefully we can just roll this one over now, because I do feel like things were looking very good. It felt like we were like really in control, creating quite a bit. It felt like the goal was going to come, and yeah, they scored, and it took the wind out. It took took a bit of discipline, I guess, just to not change things for the sake of it, but have faith in what you're seeing. Right, but we'll see. We could be tested again yet. They may just score off this, which is basically only really their second thing that they've done the whole game. It's pretty good. It might lead to something yet. No, we got out of it. So that's just something we have to give up with our tactical change. So before, in that situation, the right midfielder would have tried to pass it up to the creative forward. Instead, he was isolated and basically had to dribble. Looks like we got one last chance. It's pretty wide. It's a bad angle. Yeah. Okay. I mean, Catania is just, I guess, even at when he gets into the 60s condition, maybe it's questionable. But at the moment, yeah, until then, he's definitely better than the backup. Oh no. It's a shot you're happy to give up, and yeah, sometimes they're just going to score, unfortunately. Unfortunately for us. Alright, straight back ahead though. So yeah, it feels just like much more, like I know that it's in theory close, but I kind of feel like we're quite unlucky they've scored 2 goals. Certainly another game they would have scored 0 with the same chances. And, not just occasionally, like a good chunk of the time they would have 0 goals right now. So this is where we sort of do have enough bodies in midfield now that we do keep them under pressure. When they make the tackles and the, header it clear or whatever, that it does typically fall back to us quite often. I mean, part of this though it's not entirely incidental that, like I'm saying, we're unlucky or whatever that they've scored 2, but I think part of it is obviously that we are missing 2 of our best 3 central defenders, and the other one is under 80% condition with a knock. I think that's definitely part of it. Okay, let's pause. God, and then we give away a penalty. It really does feel, and again, it's one of the weaker. I'm not sure who it was, to be honest. I'm not going to claim who it was. But anyway, it's just not ideal. And sub there for a fresh striker. We just, we've only got the one up front, and this other guy's really fast that we brought on, so we just hope that it feels like the chances we are scoring are from bursting through like that, so it feels like just making sure we keep that speed up there is important to keep the chances generating. Let's pause. Difficult. We've got it on target, but yeah. So now is a big choice, really. Are we going to go the AMC or stick with it? Let's just try to win. So let's go creative forward. Let's stick with it. I think at this time now we can change our tempo to fast. So let's the right winger now is much more encouraged to do what we want, and he's on a 10. That change, but it's not going to get there first, unfortunately. Or win the tackle. I think it's pretty obvious through this match though that the central defenders really matter for this tactic, and now the situation's about to even get worse for us with our best central defender also getting injured. Oh, close. Relatively dangerous off set pieces these days, so we could sort of hold our breath a little bit, I think, for this one. Oh, got the shot off. Alright, let's just pause, because it is a little bit man, this game they win. Probably they win. And again, just really weak, that central defender Klinkenberg. Right, I think it's very much like mix into space. Let's press. Probably just change that guy to attacking winger as well. Yeah, it's very much like roll the dice time now. Only got 4 minutes to score, so I think that's part of the problem with only testing the tactic one friendly match and it working really well. Maybe got our hopes a little bit too high. Really not sure, to be honest, because like that last goal, sure, but the other 3 goals that they scored, like another game they would have none. So we're quite unlucky, and unfortunately, like what you really want to be able to do is to survive the bad luck and win, or at least draw anyway. And probably, like, I don't know, with the right changes we could have done that. But we took a risk at the end of the day, right? Like we went for the win, and instead we lost. Arguably, we shouldn't have brought that creative forward on. for all the reasons why we didn't start with that. Right, at least he's only out for 2 matches, so it is the case that for this particular match, like, it's a total crisis. But it's only 1, and then we'll get the 2 guys back. And, yeah. Alright, I just gotta get a drink. 1 minute. Okay, back, sorry. So, and our DMC is suspended. Geesh. Feels like we shouldn't even be sticking with this tactic, quite frankly. Feels like we should be reverting to something more normal. But let's go with it, It does feel like this is not the right move, though. It feels like we probably just want to shift to playing, like, flat back 4 and whatever. Just something that doesn't rely on these players doing so much. But, right, so this guy will come in. He can't pass or whatever, so he'll come in, but he's going to be... Right, so DMC... So he's going to come in, but he's going to have to be Destroyer. Because he can't pass. Which automatically makes the build-up way worse in this slower play. Right, well, anyway, let's keep going. See what else needs to happen. And now, this guy's gone. So, I guess Klinkenberg will come in, but... Sheesh. Right. So, I guess he's not going to be able to be cover. We don't want them dropping. I mean, they're all just so slow. Right. And they can't... He can mark. He can't really tackle. This guy can mark and can't really tackle. Super slow. To be honest, I don't even know, like, we want to discourage him from going this way, because at least this guy can tackle. These guys can't even do that anyway. This is not good. Yeah, we'll go with it. Because at least we can see... if nothing else, see how big a deal it is. How big a deal having good DCs are. Because I do feel like even though we have got these other ones that are decent, that older guy that we sold was better than all of them. And I do feel like the team hasn't played generally as well without him. And he had the ball playing role back here. I do feel like the whole thing worked better with him back there pulling the strings, basically, and being our last resort. So, yeah, this just doesn't feel good at all. And then, I guess this Lopez guy, is he going to get tired? Maybe, probably. Jeesh. If he does, I guess we can... right, let's go to the youth squad. We do have a DMC here. Let's just look how bad the DMC is here. Chapa. Really slow. Okay, so probably if we the DC gets tired, we just bring on the left back. It looks like. Alright. This could be a challenge. Let's just try and we'll just I feel like this match definitely has scope to be a difficult one. We'll try and not lose. Basically, we'll try and make the changes, get the result. Big difference. Like one match though, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, so many players back. That all start. Yeah, but hopefully when we get these guys back, we'll see whatever we'll do. We'll make the most of this match. But I do feel like once we get these back, hopefully we won't have an injury crisis that's like this one, because it's like literally all four of our starting defenders, defensive players. It's pretty crazy. But yeah. So we'll try and get through this one, and then hopefully we will be able to win the rest of the matches after this one, and maybe this one as well. Okay, that's pretty good. Carrying the ball up the wing. Put the cross in. I think ideally, he would have carried it a bit more first. But whatever. Wouldn't be saying that, I guess, if the cross was more accurate. Alright, that was decent. That would mean decently dangerous, basically. Like, he could have passed a little bit beforehand, or if he didn't lose the ball on that tackle. It was a generally pretty threatening situation to create, is what I'm saying. Positive stuff, what we want to see. Alright, good. We got a lot of players now in this transition. If you can just get across in. Oh, look at all this batch. Oh, perfect. Still perfect. Still perfect. Ah, and I missed the sitter. And unfortunately, I think it fell to this guy, who is the one guy that you don't want it to fall to, because he's got really low finishing composure. Same deal last game, by the way. So that cost us the game last time, arguably. But I mean, that's part of it. If we want to run that guy, that's part of it as well, right? Because he is fast and whatever, so he's going to cover the ground to get into the position. So just got to bear that in mind. Right, back. Alright, it's through. We'll get there first. Oh, great shot. Close. So we've been pretty threatening. Kind of feels like, we should have won, let's say. I think that you wouldn't argue that. We've done enough to score one. Maybe even two if we were a bit lucky. But, we are... if the chance flow keeps going like this, we're sort of happy. This feels much more like the game that we tried when we ended up winning like 5-1 or whatever. Another half chance. We do have to bear in mind that our defenders are really bad. Like our central defenders haven't been asked to do much yet, or deal with anything really dangerous in the box. But as soon as it goes in, basically anything can happen. The keeper parries that, they score, because our defender's so slow. I mean, depending on where the parry goes, obviously. Ooh. This is what I'm talking about. They're just not good. They're just not good enough at anything, basically, our central defenders. Everything that goes in the box is just generally dangerous. They're just not good at tackling, not good at heading. They're alright at marking, that's it. But that's not insignificant, that's kind of a big deal. Oh, gosh. That probably was going in if it wasn't blocked by the defender, but it goes in anyway. Right, cool. And we got an injury here. Might just sub him off, to be honest, because he's not that great anyway. And now's a decent time to make a first half sub, so to speak, because whoever we sub on, they probably will end up very close to like 100% condition to start the second half. Right, so we'll take on a Krieg and then we'll move him to the box-to-box role. So this is what we want. This is why the guys in the team. We need the bodies in the box. It is pulled back. It's decent. It's good. Oh, that was really well worked. Another pretty solid chance. I think on the whole, though, this is like the pretty good game with the way that it's flowing for our tactic on the whole, in that it's sort of like moving slow enough that our box-to-box midfielders are getting up and back, and we have created quite a bit, and yeah, and they've created a little bit, 1, 2. We have created quite a bit, though. We could be feeling a bit unlucky to only have 1 goal. Having said that, they had a very good chance. They could have scored 1. So yeah, on the whole, I think if you would have offered it, I suppose you take the 1-0. This is a random outcome, based on what we saw, because it could be 1-0 their way. If we were very unlucky, it could be 1-1. Could be 2-0. Not sure. We'd have to be quite lucky with the chances we had, I think, to have scored more than 2, though. Possible, but just would have need quite a bit of luck. Box-to-box midfielder, that was again. So they do contribute. Like I keep saying that. I'm just saying that from the perspective of like, just to highlight that they are getting involved in the attacks. They are helping. I'm just way too slow getting here. Then misses it. This is just bad. Okay, just need to play it. Alright. This is okay. Gets tackled, we got another guy there. Hopefully run onto it. Right, it's getting close to the time of... nearly a block shot, I think. It's time to sub this guy off in a sec, so we're just prepping for that. To be honest, I'm kind of alright with how the game is going. I'm very conscious of the fact that, I think one good thing about when we do have the weaker defenders, or even defensive midfield, all of that, just, having our midfield have more bodies to hopefully win the ball in midfield a bit more, sort of just does alleviate pressure off the defense as well. And then also those extra bodies, just generally, I mean, I understand that part of those bodies are the box-to-box midfielders, but they sort of give time to each other to get back as well. Like more time, for example, than a creative forward would, which is what we moved out for that. But yeah, it just feels like that could have scored, for example. It does feel like... I'm not sure if we're at the point yet where we say, let's just try and defend the lead, because there's quite a ways left in the match. But we might be, to be honest. We might be there. If we were, then I think the move is subbing off this guy for the left back. I think we're just going to do that. This is a bit weird now, but let's just go with it. Whilst I think it's not good, but I can't think of something better, because maybe we could set one of them to attacking. That may be better. Not sure which one though. Neither of them are particularly suited to it, but it might just be better for the spacing. I know what we can do. We can set one of them to central. This guy, I think. I think we can offset him and put him running more through the middle. And then I think this guy doesn't need to get back as much because we got the left back there, so he'd be attacking winger. And at this point, I'm not sure. We can probably go faster tempo and just encourage the guys to carry the ball up the wings more. I think just because they're not really waiting for much to catch up anymore. So, yeah, this is not good. Okay. Happy to give that up. We made all our subs at this point. We're pretty locked into this very defensive sort of setup, to be honest. And our main chance to score, to be honest, I think we're just going to go long ball, because our main chance to score at this point is really just something like this happens, comes in, yeah. Our main chance to score is something like that happening, basically. And the best way to encourage that, which I think is also help us defend more, is just to hit it forwards, because if this guy's so fast, if it spills loose, it's good for him. This guy as well. So I think we're just going to go into space and direct and just look to Hooford. And to be honest, at this point, I think he can stay box to box. I think that's fine. Because at the end of the day, they could still go up the wing, cut in, whatever, and having a late arriver in the box could be a good thing there. And for him getting back to help defend is something we're happy with. Because even though our attacks will be fast, we've got enough here on the defense to hold them up, basically. So even though our box-to-box midfielder won't always have time to join the attack, he should typically have time to join the defense. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. And everything exactly what I'm talking about. So that's the winger running onto the space with the long ball, and then the box-to-box midfielder arriving late there for the cutback. But it all just happened in that one play. So pretty comfortable, I'd say. I mean, I think we've won at this point, and relatively comfortable. But yeah, again, it's one of those matches where it's like not, it could have not won it, obviously. But, I don't know. I feel like all these things just balance themselves out over time. We're not particularly lucky at all to win it. It would have required a fair amount of bad luck to have not won it. But the thing is, occasionally that'll happen. I still think that match that we lost, for example, it took quite a bit of bad luck to lose that. But it will happen sometimes. That's the thing. So we played suboptimal. If you want to win in the face of a lot of bad luck, you can't expect to be winning those matches if you also don't make the right decisions and don't have your team set up as optimal as they could be effectively. So not complaining. I know full well that we didn't make all the right decisions. So, right, anyway, so this one, we do win. We get our central defenders back, so we'll sort our team out on the next video. I think we're going to play 2 more today, at least. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, this tactic probably needs work on the whole. I don't think it's perfect. I think the match that we lost kind of clearly shows that, but we made some mistakes or whatever, but the thing is, and we were unlucky to some degree, but I think it's also the case that we didn't totally control that match at the start. But anyway, we've got defenders back, we've got players back, we've got a midfielder injured, so we'll not sure what we'll do for the next matches. We'll work it out, but I feel like there's something here. If nothing else, it's like we end up. It's just an option that we have during matches when we know that they're flowing slow enough that we can move to this, and because at the end of the day, it's not a big change from our other formation, so it is just something that we can just keep as a weapon in the box to move to for matches, if nothing else. So just playing through some matches now and learning from it isn't a bad thing. But the double box-to-box concept is interesting. It's conceptually interesting. It's something that feels like if you can get it working, it could be super good. But it would be really hard to get working on a consistent basis. But yeah, philosophically though, I feel like this is kind of the way to some degree, because their attacks, you're like, if they're coming through the middle, you're holding them up naturally, and if they're coming down the flanks, which basically they are because of all this space, they're like because they're naturally drifting wide, and then trying to beat a defender and come in or cross the ball in or whatever, like that route basically to drift out here and then hit across is just generally longer than coming straight through the middle, obviously, which just naturally affords a little bit more time for these guys to get back. So basically, because we're forcing them wide, we'll say forcing, but allowing them, encouraging them, whatever, to go wide, the absence of the fullbacks is giving the box-to-box midfielders more time to get back, which is kind of interesting conceptually. Because if you don't, not obviously if you had fullbacks as well, you would hold them up more, but the thing is, that's going to come at the expense of something else. And in a tactic like that, that's basically going to come at the tactic like this that's trying to do this thing and could conceivably play two box-to-box midfielders, that the only real way probably that you get the fullbacks is by losing one of the DCs and probably losing the DMC. Which means that all of a sudden they can come straight through the middle and they can go route one. Whereas now they can't go just through the middle. They've got to go wide, which naturally gives them the time. If that makes sense? So if we had by not having the fullbacks, it's giving the box-to-box midfielders time to get back. Because if we did have the fullbacks, then we wouldn't have would have two less players through the middle here, which would allow attacks to come more through the middle, and they wouldn't have time necessarily to get back for those. So, interesting. Alright, cheers. Thanks for watching.